Okay, I'm here interviewing the third part with Rabbi Moshe Yosef Engel, a shliach of the Rebbe in Long Beach, California for 54 years since 1970, and he's telling us now about his Yechidus with the Rebbe from 1960 to 1970, 10 years of Yechidus.
Almost all the Yechidus were the same. Basically, I went in, I asked for a bracha from Rabbi Yechidus, and the Rebbe said, "You'll surely keep them in Hagim of the Yom Haledos." I remember once the Rebbe saying to me, and give tzedakah, to give tzedakah before Shachris and before Mincha. And I remember asking the Rebbe, I said, before Shachris and before Mincha? Or before Shachris or before Mincha? Don't ask me why I asked. And the Rebbe said to me like this, since your Yom Haledos is on Shabbos, and on Shabbos you can't give tzedakah. This is how the Rebbe answered. But you could give tzedakah by having orchim over. And how that went into, and the Rebbe answered before Shachris, or I don't remember how the connection was. But I do remember for years when I was married at the beginning, we never went without a guest. The Rebbe said that,
You should have
that Shabbos,
right.
you can still do tzedakah by having guests.
That's very interesting.
And that's something that lasted for many, many years.
I
I was
understand.
always careful to have guests.
Anything else you remember?
Yes.
Did you ask, Avodas Hashem, you were no bacher, yeshiva, davening, machshavos?
I probably asked about machshavos, and I believe there are two things that the Rebbe told me. One is that I should take different parts of davening and concentrate on it, like this part, and that should be the concentration of this day, and the next part, that should be the concentration. I don't remember exactly how that fit in with the question, I'm not sure, but I do remember the Rebbe telling me that. I also remember, let's go into a whole different period. I was born as a 2-year-old boy. It was discovered as a 2-year-old boy. I was born with a little hole in my heart.
When you were 2, they found that you had
It was called
a murmur?
Yeah, it was called an atrial septal defect. So the doctors told my mother, you have to operate on this, but not now, and he'll be in his teens, that's what we'll operate on. I was 2 years old then. Now, I'm 16 years old, and I'm going into the Rebbe, and I don't remember if it was 16 or 17 then, but I do remember bringing the Rebbe a whole bunch of pictures, X-ray pictures, that I got from the doctor to ask the Rebbe for advice, or to ask the Rebbe for, I don't remember exactly.
Probably for advice. They wanted to do an operation?
Yeah, they were ready to do it.
Right.
They were ready to do it when I was 17.
Okay.
So I'm not sure whether this was 16 or 17.
I understand.
And I remember going into the Rebbe and asking the Rebbe for a bracha. And saying to the Rebbe that I'm going to go in to the hospital. I forgot the date. I think it was Chayoter, but it was the English date. So
Yeah.
So the Rebbe said to me, so you don't see Pesach?
So close to Pesach?
So I said to the Rebbe, look, I waited so many years to wait till after Pesach. That's left. So the Rebbe picked up his hand and said, was abstuppen bis Sphira? Why should you push it off to Sphira? Other is a mazel to Yechidus. Go ahead.
But in the beginning he seemed to imply like
It's close, too close.
it's too close to Pesach.
It's close to Pesach.
Implying that you should.
Oh, 1 second. And then when I said to the Rebbe, I could push it off after, the only reason, I forgot that, the only reason why we were doing it then was that's when our insurance kicked in. On March 1st or whatever the date was, that's when our insurance kicked in.
So that was so close to Pesach.
Right.
So the Rebbe said it's close to Pesach. So who said so? And then he said it's
The Rebbe
Svira.
picked up his hand. No, I said I could have it after Pesach.
Yeah.
So the Rebbe said, why push it off to Sfira? Others are Mazel to Yechidus and whatever the bracha was.
And you had the operation and was it successful?
And I came out on Yudalef Nissen from the hospital. I went in on Chai Adar and
So
3 weeks, something like that.
Right, and it was successful.
It was successful, and actually, I believe I was one of the first 100 patients in Canada or in Montreal to have this operation. And now it's a over Shibacholian, thousands of them are done.
Done, right.
But then it was,
What is it called? What is aortic?
no, what I had was a septal,
Septic.
no. I'll remember soon.
You said before
Yeah,
aortal.
I always knew that. 1 second. Septal. I can't remember.
Okay.
It had a very clear name. It wasn't aortic. Septal atrial defect.
Septal atrial defect. Okay, so that was another Yechidus that you had with the Rebbe. Okay.
And that one, well, I was 17 years old then.
Right.
And the other Yechidus, I don't remember too much. In other words, they were like a regular Yechidus. He went into the Rebbe, gave Rebbe paper, the Rebbe read it, the Rebbe responded, and we got my fully
Right. But the first time you saw him was for your bar mitzvah.
Yeah. And
No, you didn't go to a Fabradian before. Right.
But since then, I went twice a year. I went in Shvat and I went Simchas Torah.
Well, you said you went once with your yeshiva, the group.
The group went on Shvat. But we had a bus. We had 2 buses.
But in your bar mitzvah, your Gerbela, this is Chavtes, so you went already.
So,
The group went in for your Shvat, and you were part of the
I
Yechidus.
was part of
Yeah.
it.
And when did you have your Yom Haledes Yechidus?
They had groups, and then they had.
For individuals.
Yeah, let's say I don't remember the date. Let's say on your Gimel Shvat
Right.
or your Dal Shvat, they had individual Yechidus.
Right. Okay. And
That's when I went in for my bar mitzvah.
right. And what was Simchas Torah?
No, then afterwards, I started going twice a year to the.
Oh yeah, but not for Yechidus. Not that you had Yechidus Simchas Torah.
No.
You mean so when you were yeshiva,
I
you only
was-
went twice a year?
Yeah.
When Mamish?
I went, I think, to Shabbos when the war, 67 war started. And I was the we had a girl.
Yeah.
I was the bocher that wanted to go that Shabbos. I remember coming back from Fabrengen, it was mashma that there wouldn't be a war. To me, that's what was mashma. I remember coming back on a train and I met Mayor Plotkin, and he said, war just broke out in Israel. This was Sunday night or early Monday morning.
Right.
I'm just saying this.
Okay. Now, when you in yeshiva,
I loved my years in yeshiva.
you became a big masmid.
No,
I'm saying you were learning around the clock and you enjoyed it.
I loved my years in yeshiva, and I went to camp. Oh, this is very important.
In Montreal.
In Montreal, yeah. I think it was Rabbi Greenwood. I'm not sure.
Rabbi Greenwood was a Lubavitcher?
It Green taught in our yeshiva.
Green Hood? I don't know who he is. Green Hood?
He had penis. He never had children, I think. He was definitely in yeshiva for a long time.
Okay.
And he asked me what I'm doing this summer.
Yeah.
I was registered to go to a non-frum camp that was for special for people that couldn't afford camps. There was two camps, Camp Wooden Acres and Camp B'nai B'rith. Both worked by the Federation, and both worked for the same purpose.
Right.
And I was registered in Camp Wooden Acres.
As a camper or counselor?
As a camper.
Okay.
I was probably 11 years old.
Yeah.
When he asked me what I'm doing this summer, I knew that. Yes, it couldn't be camping there. I just knew that. So I said, I don't know yet. And then I started crying to my mother for hours. I'm not going to Wooden Acres. I don't care what you say. I'm not going to Camp Wooden Acres. Okay. Then Koppelbacher came into my life. And Koppelbacher came and said to me, you know, there's a campership at Anisha, but your mother wouldn't have to pay. I said, well, you should go tell my mother that. So he went and told me, and she said, sure. And she didn't have to pay. I found her only years later, Koppelbacher collected money to send me to camp.
Would you say a few years later?
I found that out a few years later.
Uh-huh.
And while I was in the camp there, I was 2 years a camper, 5 years a counselor of the 6-year-olds, 1 year a counselor of the 14-year-olds, the pioneers, and 1 year I was assistant head counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year I moved to California and they called me, they said they wanted me to come back as head counselor. And I told them, I'm shliach now. And because of that, I opened my own camp the next year.
Uh-huh.
A day camp. And it's still running.
So you're the one that opened up the day camp in Long Beach.
Right. It became a very successful day camp. At this point, 50-something years later, my son runs it. My son and daughter.
I want to go back for a second. What were you more interested in yeshiva when in learning? Megillah, Gemara, or Chassidus? What was your, what did you feel an affinity to?
Shall I tell you the truth?
Yes.
I was not a big learner. I loved the yeshiva atmosphere, and I learned, like every bocher. I wasn't a very big learner, but I loved the yeshiva. And I remember at 18 years old, deciding that I have to learn 12 Program Tanya by heart, learned it, and then I remember coming in, there were a few bochers standing around, and they said, just finished the 12 Program.
Well, to do that, you need to be, you have to have zitzfleisch, you have to have patience.
Right. I mean, I loved the yeshiva, I loved the yeshiva life, and I loved being part of it.
Mm-hmm.
To say I was a big masmid, not at all. To say I sat and learned, yeah, I sat and learned.
I heard once, and tell me if it's true, I heard that your attendance was excellent, that you kept what they call shmiras hasdorim, that you came on time to all classes. Is that true?
I think it's true.
So then, obviously, you were a good learner.
No,
You mean to say you weren't from the big maskilim or
I have to understand, the year that I remember in Montreal, let me tell you who was there. Frank Pekarsky, Label Kampman, Manis Friedman, there were two more.
Gershon Schusterman,
And one more.
Salman Deitch.
This was, and that was the year, that must have been maybe when I became 18, that was the year that you always used to talk every night in Kislev there was a forbid. Every night in Kislev.
Who would Pinya? Who would they fabric?
Either way was a forbid. I just remember because I slept at home. I didn't
Oh, you never slept in the dormitory?
I slept in dormitory when we moved to New York.
Right.
We moved to New York when I was 17.
Oh,
But I came back to the yeshiva.
I thought your mother moved to Far Rockaway only 20 years ago. No, I'm
No,
having
no, no,
wrong.
no. She moved to Charlotte.
Oh, when you were 17, she moved to. So at that time, you were in the dormitory.
Went back to the yeshiva in the dormitory.
Uh huh.
And who was in charge of the dormitory? Engel. Who's my wife? Is Dalfin.
Oh, okay.
She was married to King.
Right, right. So do you remember, let's say, the Seitlin brothers? Did you have any connection with them?
Yes, of course. Every Shabbos, it was for pregnants. And I just remember we used to go to their house and we used to empty out the kitchen. That I remember. And the Dalfin took all, But I'll tell you the thing I remember most about the Seitlin brothers. You, what's the name? You came out of Russia with a casket, and he had a cut across his forehead.
Who's Flavor Shimonovich? You mean in Montreal?
Montreal.
Gurevich?
Oh, he came to visit Montreal.
Oh, from Brooklyn.
And the Rebbe told him, when you're going to be there, you should verbring, and they sollen lernen, they should get the lesson.
Right. Beshetsky?
Vishetsky, that's who it is. Moshe
The
Vishetsky.
Moshe Beshetsky.
So in 2.5 days, he verbring 5 times. The Bachrim from the verbringing that I remember was in Moshe Elia Gerlitsky's basement, and he was verbringing, and then about 2 in the morning, somebody came in, a Bacher came in, so he stopped. Very dos. He was still under
The communist, the KGB, yeah, that.
And then we told him, don't worry, he's all right, he's one of us. Okay. But then, this is how he finished the verbringing. He said, when we were in Russia and we would verbring, no matter till what time the verbringing lasted, the next day we knew we had to be by Seder in time. This was about 3 o'clock in the morning. He says, tomorrow morning, Seder starts, I don't remember, it was 7 or 7:30. I think it was 7:30, Seder.
7:30, yeah.
Ich will sein dort. I'll be there, and I expect you all to be there.
And who was there? Only the Moshe Yosef, you?
No.
Everyone was there?
The place was packed. But I know what I did. We all went on to Seitlin's truck, a bunch of guys, and he took us to the yeshiva. And I was afraid of oversleeping. I didn't know about the other guys. So I went to sleep in the basement, in the shul where they daven. So I knew they would come in and get angry and wake us up. I was with a few guys. We lay down on those benches and they woke us up, and we were in time. And he was there. I mean, that's something I'll never forget.
What about Reb Zalman Morozov? You remember him?
Yeah, Reb Zalman Morozov, I remember him just as he was to me a choshev looking yid.
He was a shliach, I think. Yeah.
He always came with a bunch of little girls to shul, and they were always eating bananas. In other words, healthy stuff.
Right.
Later, I got married to his niece.
Right.
And he was very sick in the last, very sick means no communication for a good few years. I don't remember how many years or whatever. But the girls, those little girls, grew up and I knew that.
Was there, over the years I heard there was like some kind of unwritten schism between the Polish Hasidim of Montreal and the Russians. Did you detect any of that? Truth be told.
No, I did not detect any of that, although I used to hear once in a while talk about Russisch
And Polish.
but I didn't,
Right, that wasn't part of your.
wasn't part of my life.
Right. Okay,
I also remember,
Go ahead.
I also remember we had one of the teachers in yeshiva was Rabbi Silverstein.
Yeah.
He was a cipher. And he was the, really respected cipher. I remember giving him my phone to check. I was probably 16, 17. And he says, the book like you should have better phone.
Zilberman.
Oh, Zilberman.
Right. Zilberstein is someone
Right.
else.
Zilberman. His brother is the one that wrote the Zilberman Chumash.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And his brother or his relative anyway, and I heard that he definitely didn't use it because where it says that there's six children born at once, his relative wrote some moving that is
An exaggeration. Really.
this is what I heard.
Uh,
He didn't have it himself.
it was a brother, or is it just a relative? You don't know. Okay, a second.